imagine my delight at the sight of such esteemed gathering, except that their drinks seem more expensive than the Buddha's. Smart bargain. I took a seat in the next table and tried to remain inconspicuous, though obviously I was plotting how to take notes without being noticed. Maybe take a few selfies with the guys in the back. This party was just too good to miss. I'm quite good at eavesdropping in bars, Feni or no Feni. As I sat down, I saw the Buddha slightly turned toward the table. A solid silence fell on the entire bar. Holding his glass of Divar-styled urak in his left hand, Buddha raised his right hand and flashed for us his famous Mona Lisa smile. Just beautiful to behold. Then Buddha began to speak. And this is a real quote. To support mother and father, to cherish your partner and children, and to be engaged in peaceful occupations. This is the greatest lesson. I turned to the barman and demanded a glass of red Big Banyan wine because this was for me too much to handle. For the longest time, I've been saying to the Goa riders that Buddha was actually a deadbeat father. If I had wanted to get away from my family and go to the forest to meditate, I should have been arrested for abandonment. But here I saw a contrite Buddha. And I know I'm a sucker for contrite Buddhas. I took an urgent sip of my wine and carefully turned to listen to Ramakrishna, who seemed eager to respond to the Buddha. I knew it should be good. Ramakrishna was staring at his glass of Scottish blends as if in a trance. I was told that he does that very often. Then he began to speak softly. He said, God is everywhere, but He is most manifest in man. So serve man as you serve God. That is as good as worshiping God. It reminded me of that evening in a bar in the Tlusty village in Poland, when the famous Rabbi of Kots, drinking his usual poor man's Slivovich vodka, said to his priestly friends that God is everywhere He's allowed to enter. I was going to approach his table and ask him, yes, O Master, but how do we allow God to enter? Luckily, I remained quiet on my seat and thought that the answer was to love and to be compassionate with the neighbors. My distracted mind came right back to the Gomes bar and saw the Buddha did not take well to all this God talk. But Ramakrishna's answer, in my view, was right to the point. Expand the deeds of service from your own family and immediate circles to the whole of humanity. In fact, how can you serve your family if the rest of humanity is ill-served? I wanted what Ramakrishna was having. But at that moment, his principal disciple, Swami Vivekananda, was signaling the barman for another round of Kentucky bourbon, and very animatedly, he began to recall a teaching he got from his beloved master. Everyone looked at Vivekananda, except for Ramakrishna himself, who was still staring at his empty glass. I wonder how long has it been empty? It's totally unfair. Anyway, the Swami started to tell the friends that one day, when his master was sick, he went to him asking how to achieve samadhi or nirvana. But Ramakrishna admonished him and said, "Shame on you, Vivekananda. I thought you would grow like a huge banyan, sheltering thousands from the scathing misery of the world. But now I see you seek only your own salvation." Vivekananda was smiling with the kind of smile only deep reverence can bring out. I understood that Vivekananda was reminding his august friends that true liberation happens in the liberation of others. It reminded me of Pope Francis when I heard him tell his saintly friends in a rather dingy bar in a Bohemian neighborhood of Buenos Aires that the most important sacrament is what he called the sacrament of the neighbor. I thought that was brilliant. And so, by the way, was his drink of Fernet Branca with Coca-Cola and lemon. Yes, in other words, what Francis was saying is that you save others. In that is saving yourself. The reverse is not true. But at that moment, in the Gomes bar, I became intrigued with Guru Nanak's face expression. He was drinking a desi daru, and in my opinion, one must be very careful with them. But I knew and trusted Gomes' choices of drinks and tapas. The good Guru raised his tall glass and facing the Buddha, who by the way was sitting at the bar with his back to the table, and said, "He who eats what he earns through honest work and shares with others, he alone recognizes the true path in life." And without missing a beat, he added, "Those who have loved are those that have found God." Nice, I thought. Very nice indeed. Right livelihood is also part of the Buddha's Eightfold Noble Path. It reminded me of a delicate bar in the island of Lesbos in Greece, where I watched the poetess Sappho drinking a bubbly white wine and saying to her table girlfriends, "Whatever one love is, whatever one love is." I love that. No difficult and persistent spiritual or bodily exercises are needed to find God, only to have loved. But of course, as usual, I felt the hitch to go to her and ask, how do we translate love into deeds? One thing I've learned is to restrain myself as I eavesdrop on bar dialogues. So well, I thought, charity is one of the ways. But charity is not a solution. We must strive for a society where charity will no longer be needed. And as I was thinking of that, I sensed that what I needed right now was another drink. The barman came to me and asked me to try his new Goan Feni. My God, I just don't like it. But I obliged, as the concept of service and compassion was hovering over the entire bar. At that time, as if he was reading my mind, kind of creepy if you ask me, my main man, Rabindranath Tagore, placed his glass of gin tonic on the table and his right hand over Ramakrishna's shoulder and sweetly told him, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted and behold, service was joy." I think he was agreeing with Ramakrishna's admonition to Vivekananda, but he was also saying that there is true joys in refusing to become a spiritual narcissist. I like that very much. I heard some say that it all begins within you, but not the core. But here I felt a slight discomfort. You see, Tagore began to relate a story of him drinking single peated malt and brut whiskey from Bangalore in a Tibetan bar together with the Dalai Lama. He recalls the Dalai Lama saying to him, "If you want peace, make peace for others. If you want enlightenment, enlighten others." I heard the Dalai Lama say that before, and I believe that to be an absolute truth. But please, allow me to voice some doubts on the fact of Tagore drinking with him in Tibet. Where? Which bar was it? You can't find peated and root in Goa anymore. So how are you going to get it in Tibet of all places? Not casting aspersion, God forbid, but really? Anyway, I looked around the table, and only God knows whether Ramakrishna was listening intently or he was just staring at his glass, upset that it was still empty. I, inspired by the idea of service, signaled to the barman to fill his glass. He did, and finally the good sage offered a slight smile. I felt a great sense of accomplishment. Meantime, Mr. Osho, who was sitting in a pensive position, perhaps a bit uncomfortable wearing a Star Trek suit with a heavy hat, but I guess that was just my projection. With his intense eyes, he was looking at each one around the table, and after taking a long sip of his sangria infused with ice and orange slices, he said to everyone, "Needs are small. Yes, you need food, shelter, you need a few things. Everybody's needs can be provided for. For the world has enough to fulfill everybody's needs. But desires, it is impossible. Desires cannot be fulfilled. And because people are fulfilling their desires, millions of people's needs are not being fulfilled." Yes, I said, social justice is the key. Love is social justice for everyone, not just a feeling of compassion for the suffering of others. It reminded me of the hipster bar in Brooklyn, when the good Professor Gordon West, drinking organic beer and adjusting his neck scarf, told his academic drinking buddies that justice is what love looks like in public. His companions agreed wholeheartedly, and in celebration, they ordered a new round of $11 a glass of that lovely beer. I felt inadequate with my little kingfish, but no one saw me at the other table. Now I understood why Osho collected his 90 Rolls-Royce cars. It was probably to give them away to the poor, right? Well, let's leave this thought where it is. Because now I saw Sri Aurobindo gobble up his glass of Clovis brandy as he was ready to intervene. He held his glass high as if to bless the crowd and said, "The existence of poverty is the proof of an unjust and badly organized society. And our public charities are but the first tardy awakening in the conscience of a robber." Exactly, I thought. I fully agree with him. Now we are understanding the issue better. We are all responsible to do away with poverty. Not only I agree with his words, I also agree with the time, that the time was to tell the barman not to serve me Feni again, ever. I ordered another glass of wine, and the friends at the table began to get their refills. Sadhguru was unusually quiet all morning. And by the way, he was the only one drinking Susegado Goan beer. I thought that was cool. With his crisp voice, Sadhguru was projecting the air of one who was going to say the last wise words of a wise discussion. It was close to 5 a.m., and I did not want to miss the sunrise in Bivar over the Mandori. Sadhguru asked for another beer, and before his glass was even filled, he began to say, "You can postpone many things in life. You can postpone buying a home, buying a car. You can postpone your wedding if you want, and that's a good thing. You can postpone your divorce, and it's good to postpone your death. But you cannot postpone your dinner right now." And this is the ugliness which is happening in India. A whole lot of people are postponing their dinner today. This is the horrible situation that's happening in our country. Yes, I said, poverty and injustice are not abstractions. Love is not an abstraction. God is not an abstraction. God is a deed we do. It all boils down to the reality of children in poverty, and how spiritual enlightenment and children in poverty are perennial adversaries. As long as one child is poor, no one is spiritually enlightened. Well, here you may think I'm just making this next story up. Too incredulous to be true. But no, I am not. I was hungry and the barman gave me a few chapatis and another glass of wine. And this is what happened. The table of drinking masters felt silent, and all the friends were fidgeting to get up and go away on their holy ways. I did too. But in from the door of the Gomes bar walks my own favorite poet, Martin Cooper. Big eyes, bigger smile, long beard like a Hebrew prophet of the Bible. The barman called me to the counter because he knew me well. I gathered my guts, grasping my book for a possible picture. I went to the counter and said, "Namaskar, Martin G. Can I buy you a Goan martini?" I thought he would appreciate the Martin-Martini combination. Hoover looked at me and softly said, "Remember this, dear Hune. God is the between of I and you." We remained silent for 7 seconds and then added, "There is nothing we know about God, but we can address Him in the embrace of a being. That, I believe, is the entirety of all possible teachings." I felt a great peace as Hoover walked out of the bar. The friends had already left. Buddha was walking away in the opposite direction. But I must say, I was heading out the bar, and my peace was somewhat disturbed when the barman said to me, "Aram se Hune, don't leave yet." When the friends left the bar, they told me, "You were picking up the tab." Well, so be it. These are the occasions follow songs and tango lyrics were written for. Thank you. Timing was good, huh?
Do you want to take any questions?
I would love to take questions if you have any.
I love the whole idea of all the philosophers meeting in a bar, and it's also well written. I'm just wondering, at one point of time, it says the only thing is to serve men, women and humanity not to be served.
Well, not only that, but what the Buddha said, when I said support your partner, he actually said support your wife. But I guess come from a generation that we don't like to hear those things, so I said partner instead of wife. Yeah, but when they meant men, most of the time they meant men, males. The Buddha did not take women as part of his community until late in his life, when his mother went and said to him, "I want to become a nun." And he said, "No, men and women are different. Men are supposed to be spiritually enlightened, women are supposed to support them." But the mom got very, very upset. And he said, "Okay, you can have your own nunnery if you want, your own monastery." I was thinking that's why, by the way, I introduced the poetess Sappho. She's not Indian. She lived in the island of Lesbos, where the word lesbian comes from, because she was the first great lesbian poetess. And she's the only female character over there, but she's from outside of India. Just about all of these Indian philosophers, religious people, seekers, and so forth, they had a very strong sense of gender. At the same time, they were trying to overcome gender from their perspective, all the way to Mahatma Gandhi, the same thing. To become, not only to be celibate, but to go beyond the urges of sexuality. And that was part of their regular practice, asceticism, as they used to call it. Who else wants to ask something? Who knows who Osho was? He's recent, so you might have heard of him. How about Sadhguru? These are contemporary guys. Anyone interested in these kind of subjects? Yeah? Like to study more about Indian poets, philosophers, writers?
first time that you bring them together in a bar? Like, what was that initial thought?
I've done this with others too. I pay the bills, so they don't come to the bar. I've done it with other countries, other cultures. But I've been studying Indian culture, Buddhism in particular, for a long time. It's rather fascinating. I'm tempted to let you go, but I want to hear one more question before I leave. Yes.
This is not a question. You asked whether people know about Sadhguru.
Yeah.
You may be knowing that all his discourses are available on YouTube, and in fact they are pretty interesting. Some of his discourses are being hosted by Kangana Ranaut, the Indian actress, who claims that she doesn't know too much English, but she speaks in English to Sadhguru, and he replies also in English. And it's pretty good English.
Yeah, Sadhguru's English is perfect. I wonder how that comes. And he has a very crisp and clear voice. And he created recently what is called the Isha Foundation. And he's doing quite a bit of significant work in environmental, ecological preservation, and things like that. Very, very important work. This one.
Why do you think God-men and God-women are doing so well in India?
I'm doing so well.
Apart from a few of them.
Why are they doing so well?
Yes.
They are making a lot of
with
money.
the mass followings they have.
Yeah. I think that one of the differences between India and other countries, let's say, the center of Christianity and Judaism is in today Jerusalem, Israel, and Islam is on the other side of the Middle East. Thank you. The difference is that India doesn't have a tradition of binding revelation. So for a Christian, it is only Christ. And Christ is the only path to God. Christ said, no one goes to the Father but through me. Christ was Jewish in his religion. Later on, they created a religion around him. In Judaism, it's the same idea. The Torah, the Bible, was revealed in Mount Sinai forever and ever. And that's the only revelation necessary. In Islam, you have the Prophet Muhammad saying something similar. I am the last true revelation, and there will be no revelation after me. India doesn't have that tradition. India's tradition is that every person has an inherent ability to reach the divinity and come back with a message. And so you have so many different people that said, I have a path to God, I reached God, and I want to teach you. And then you have the Buddha, who completely rejected the idea of God. But he said, everybody is the Buddha. All we have to do is to awake to God. The word Buddha means to be awakened. Everybody's born a Buddha, but we have to awaken. That's why so many people can come and claim, I am a Buddha, or I am a God-man, I'm a God-woman, because they had a path to God and now they can reveal it to others. In the other religions, you have a certain authority that can ordain you or take you away, and give you legitimacy or not. In India, there is no such thing. Who can tell the Guru that he's not a real Guru? Who can tell the God-man that you will get a revelation from God? So that's why it's more open and more dynamic. Does it make sense?
It doesn't answer my question about people who take to believing in a guru, and we have so many of them, and we have these mass movements, and then suddenly you find there is a scandal, and everything breaks loose, and there are police cases against them, there are rape cases against them, and they are find themselves in jail. So is it something about India, or is it in other countries too, is it so prevalent?
People need a father in heaven, and they follow whoever can give them that sort of sense. We are alone in the universe. We're like little specks. We come and we go. So we need to have a sense that there is some power that will protect us, that gives meaning to our lives. And the Gurus promise that. And people need that, and they follow. All religions is the same. Go to the Catholic Church today. Thousands of Catholic priests that have raped little boys, right? To go to Islam, And they have a prevalence today of many people becoming terrorists and killing others. So how do we explain that? The need for religion is embedded in the human mind. We need to follow leaders, we need to follow other people.
And we
Not
need
only
to be
India.
exploited. It is the mass exploitation of the people.
I believe so, but oftentimes I will tell you, we cannot understand the wisdom of the guru. We allow him to do things that our limited minds cannot comprehend. So even though they're exposed for certain things, they still demand this loyalty. In the Catholic Church is the same. Once you are ordained by a priest, you are ordained forever. Only the Pope can remove it from you. So it's something that we cannot understand. But modern society has taken a stand against this more and more. Eventually, hopefully, this is going to be cleaned up. But if you say that religion is the opium of the people, it's something to that effect. But when you remove religion, you create other opiums for the people. The whole idea is, like the Buddha said, be very much make a big effort for your own liberation. Don't follow a teaching, don't follow a scripture. Nobody can liberate you. You can do it yourself, only yourself.
But the West is more scientific, no? Why aren't we scientific in the East?
Yeah, you see the scientific, but at the same time the West is becoming racist, is becoming intolerant, is becoming right-wing, is becoming Trump. So they take one religion, they take another. They don't call it religion. Okay, I
think
told
that's a larger
I'm over.
discussion. Is this part of a book? Is this part of a book?
Yeah. Thank you all. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.